Welcome to Health 2660. Here, we don't just talk about health. We tell the stories that heal. Now please listen to the story. The scent of earth and something vaguely citrusy, yet undeniably herbal, hung in the air. It clung to my mother Helen, even after she'd shuffled away from the stove, her movements slower and more deliberate these days. At 78, the years had begun to etch themselves, not just onto her face, in the fine lines that crinkled around her kind eyes, but also into her very being. There was a weariness that no amount of sleep seemed to erase, a persistent ache in her joints. That medication only dulled, and a listlessness that worried me more than she let on. Her usual spark, the mischievous glint that had always hinted at a hidden prank or a witty comeback, was often dimmed, obscured by the shadows of age and discomfort. I'd tried everything. The doctor's prescribed pills, of course, a cocktail of medications aimed at addressing her various ailments. There were sleeping aids that left her groggy digestive enzymes that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't, and painkillers that masked the pain but did nothing to address the underlying inflammation. We'd consulted specialists, tried physical therapy, even explored alternative therapies, like acupuncture and massage. Nothing seemed to offer lasting relief. The symptoms would subside for a while, only to return with renewed vigor, like weeds stubbornly pushing through cracks in the pavement. One sweltering afternoon, I decided to take her to the Asian grocery store, a place she'd always enjoyed browsing, even if she rarely bought anything. The vibrant colors of the unfamiliar produce, the exotic spices piled high in woven baskets, the cacophony of languages. It seemed to stimulate her senses, if only for a little while. I pushed her wheelchair slowly through the aisles, pointing out the various items, narrating their uses and origins, hoping to spark some interest. She nodded politely, but her eyes held a distant, unfocused gaze. We were nearing the back of the store, where the fresh herbs and vegetables were displayed, when we encountered her. An elderly woman, her face a roadmap of wrinkles earned through decades of labor and wisdom, stood behind a mountain of leafy greens. She was arranging bundles of a particular herb, one I didn't recognize, with meticulous care. Its leaves were a deep, vibrant green on one side, with a striking purplish-red hue on the other. An intriguing aroma, both sweet and slightly pungent, emanated from the pile. "Perilla," the woman said, noticing my curious glance. Her voice was raspy, but kind, with a hint of an accent I couldn't quite place. "Good for health? Very good." I smiled politely, not really paying much attention. I'd heard countless claims about various herbs and supplements promising miraculous cures. I was skeptical, jaded, even after years of disappointment. But then she looked at my mother, her gaze piercing and knowing. "She looks tired," she said, her voice softening. "Perilla tea. Boil the leaves. Drink warm before bed. It will help." I almost dismissed her suggestion outright. Another folk remedy, I thought. Another empty promise. But there was something in the woman's eyes, a genuine concern, and a quiet confidence that gave me pause. And my mother surprisingly seemed intrigued. A flicker of interest had ignited in her eyes, a spark I hadn't seen in weeks. "What does it do?" I asked, my skepticism warring with a desperate hope. The woman smiled, a network of wrinkles spreading across her face. "Helps sleep, calms the stomach, good for aches and pains, and..." She paused, her eyes twinkling. "It makes the heart lighter." I bought a bundle of the perilla leaves, more out of politeness than any real expectation of a miracle. But as I paid, The woman's words echoed in my mind. It makes the heart lighter. That more than anything else was what I wanted for my mother. That evening, I carefully washed the perilla leaves and placed them in a pot of boiling water. The aroma that filled the kitchen was even more pronounced, now a complex blend of herbal freshness and subtle sweetness. It was strangely comforting, reminiscent of childhood memories of my grandmother's garden. I let the leaves steep for about 10 minutes, then strained the tea into a delicate porcelain cup, one of my mother's favorites. The tea was a pale green color, almost translucent. I added a touch of honey to sweeten it, then carried it to my mother, who was sitting in her favorite armchair, her eyes closed. "Here, Mom," I said gently. "Try this. The lady at the store said it might help you sleep." She opened her eyes and looked at me with a hesitant smile. She took the cup and brought it to her lips, taking a small sip. Her expression didn't change immediately, but after a moment, she closed her eyes again, a faint sigh escaping her lips. "It's pleasant," she said softly. "Thank you, dear. I didn't expect anything to happen that night. I figured it would be like all the other remedies we'd tried, a temporary placebo effect at best. But I was wrong. The next morning, my mother woke up looking different. Her eyes were brighter, her complexion clearer, and there was a noticeable spring in her step. She ate a full breakfast, something she hadn't done in weeks, and even offered to help me with the dishes. I slept soundly. She said, her voice filled with surprise. I don't remember the last time I slept so well. I was stunned. Could it really be the Perilla tea? I remained cautiously optimistic, attributing it to a fluke, a coincidence. But night after night, the same thing happened. My mother slept better, woke up refreshed, and her overall mood improved dramatically. The change was so remarkable that I couldn't keep it to myself. I told my mother's friend Lana about the Perilla tea. Lana had been suffering from a chronic cough for years, a persistent hacking that kept her up at night and left her exhausted during the day. She'd tried every cough syrup and inhaler imaginable, but nothing seemed to provide lasting relief. Lana, always open to trying new things, decided to give the Perilla tea a try. And just like my mother, she experienced almost immediate results. Her coughing subsided, she could breathe more easily, and she finally started getting a decent night's sleep. The word spread like wildfire through our small community. Another neighbor, Henry, who had been struggling with high blood pressure, heard about the Perilla tea and decided to try it. After a few weeks of drinking it regularly, he noticed that his blood pressure readings were more stable in the mornings. Soon, a small group of seniors had formed, gathering at my mother's house every afternoon for what they affectionately called their peaceful Perilla tea hour. Each person brought their own experiences and observations. Some reported reduced bloating, others experienced deeper sleep, and still others simply felt a greater sense of calm and well-being. The atmosphere at these gatherings was always warm and inviting. Laughter filled the air, stories were shared, and a sense of camaraderie blossomed. It was more than just drinking tea. It was a ritual, a shared experience that brought them together and nourished their bodies and souls. Of course, I couldn't help but wonder about the science behind the Perilla leaves. Was it just a placebo effect? Or was there something truly beneficial about the herb? I decided to do some research and consulted a nutritionist, Dr. Ramirez, to get her professional opinion. Dr. Ramirez was intrigued by the reports of the Perilla tea's positive effects. She explained that Perilla leaves are indeed rich in various compounds that could potentially contribute to improved health. She emphasized that while natural remedies can be beneficial, they are not inherently risk-free. Overuse of Perilla tea could lead to digestive upset or mildly affect blood clotting in some individuals. As with any supplement, moderation is essential. Perilla leaves contain rosmarinic acid, which has anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, she said. They also contain luteolin, which may help to reduce inflammation and protect against certain types of cancer. And the essential oils in Perilla leaves have been shown to have antimicrobial and antiviral effects. She also explained that Perilla leaves can help in digestive support, helping to ease bloating and indigestion. They contain compounds that stimulate the production of digestive enzymes and promote healthy gut bacteria. Dr. Ramirez reminded us once again, the Perilla tea is not a replacement for prescribed medications. We were encouraged to continue all existing treatments and use the tea only as a complementary addition. It's also important to be aware of potential interactions with certain medications, she said. Perilla leaves can have a mild blood-thinning effect, so individuals taking blood thinners should exercise caution and consult with their doctor. Armed with this information, I shared it with my mother and her friends. I emphasized the importance of continuing to take their prescribed medications and consulting with their doctors before making any changes to their treatment plans. They understood and agreed to be cautious. We also reminded ourselves that just because something is natural doesn't mean it can be used without limits. Everyone in the group agreed to stick to a simple routine, steeping 5 to 7 fresh Perilla leaves in hot water for about 10 minutes. That became our evening ritual, soothing, yet gentle. The peaceful Perilla tea hour continued, but now with a greater awareness of the potential benefits and risks. They enjoyed their tea, shared their stories, and supported each other, knowing that they were taking a proactive approach to their health and well-being. Over time, I noticed a profound shift in my mother and her friends. They were no longer just passively accepting the effects of aging. They were actively engaged in their own health, seeking out natural remedies, and taking control of their lives. The Perilla tea had not only improved their physical health, but had also given them a sense of purpose and empowerment. One afternoon, as I sat with them during their tea hour, I listened to their laughter and watched their faces light up with joy. I realized that the true magic of the Perilla tea wasn't just in the herb itself, but in the community they had created around it. It was in the shared stories, the laughter, the support, and the sense of belonging. It was in the realization that they were not alone in their struggles, and that they could find strength and comfort in each other. The elderly vendor in the Asian grocery store had given my mother and her friends more than just a simple herb. She had given them a pathway to improved health, a sense of community, and a renewed zest for life. And for that, I will always be grateful. It was a reminder that sometimes the simplest remedies, combined with the power of human connection, can have the most profound impact on our lives. The aroma of Perilla leaves now fills my kitchen every afternoon, a fragrant testament to the healing power of nature and the enduring strength of the human spirit. My mother's eyes now shine with a renewed spark, and the shadows that once clouded her face have begun to fade, replaced by a gentle radiance that comes from within. Mrs. Lana breathes easier now, her cough reduced to a mere whisper. Mr. Henry's blood pressure remains stable, allowing him to enjoy his daily walks with renewed vigor. And as for me, I have learned a valuable lesson about the wisdom of traditional remedies and the importance of community in promoting health and well-being. The peaceful Perilla Tea Hour continues not just as a daily ritual, but as a celebration of life health and the power of human connection. It is a reminder that even in the face of aging and adversity, we can find moments of peace, joy, and healing together. The tea itself is simple enough. A handful of leaves steeped in hot water. But the effect is nothing short of transformative. It's a symbol of hope, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and a reminder that even in the twilight years of life, there is still room for joy, laughter, and connection. The Perilla Tea Hour has now become a simple but meaningful daily habit for our group. It's more than just tea. It's about connection care and doing something small each day for our well-being. We continue to drink tea and share stories. We grow a few Perilla plants in our gardens and remind each other to stay balanced both in health and in life. The tea didn't cure everything, but it brought relief, comfort, and community. And sometimes that's more than enough. Health 2660. Thanks you for listening. We'll see you in the next video, and until then, be kind to yourself.